ReefDudes is sponsored by Brightwell Aquatics and Bulk Reef Supply.
Today we're talking about mixing your own dosing additives. What's going on, guys? Devin from ReefDudes. Today we are talking about mixing your own calcium alkalinity supplements. Now, if you're just starting out or you've had a smaller tank, you've been in it for a while, most people start out dosing liquid supplements just because they're easy, they're pre-mixed, and you can basically pop it on a doser or manually dose it, you're done. So common ones like Reef Code A, Reef Code B, these are very popular. I know a lot of people use them. But as your tank grows, as things get bigger, you got tons of coral or you upgrade to a bigger and bigger tank, eventually it's gonna start to feel a little expensive buying all the liquid supplements. Now, a good chunk of that is the shipping. So you're paying to ship liquids around, which are much heavier than powders. So this is where you might want to consider mixing your own bulk supplements. So taking a look at this. So today we're going to be mixing up the Calcion-P and the Alkalin8.3 from Brightwell. Now, one really cool thing about these is they're anhydrous, which means there is no water in them. So a lot of the common supplements you'll see, they actually have moisture within them. So, you know, there's that extra 6 or 7 moisture molecules mixed into each little particle, which is going to add a lot of weight. So you're actually getting more bang for your buck using anhydrous supplements because they weigh less. It's much cheaper to ship it around. Now, the other thing to consider is usually you're probably going to be cutting your costs in about half by mixing your own. Why pay for RODI being shipped around? That's just my opinion. Yeah, so today we are going to mix this. Now, one of the reasons I want to do a video on these ones specifically, the instructions tell you how much for doing a correction, but they don't really tell you how much for making a stock dosing solution. Now, I like to put all my stuff on dosers. We want to dose these buffers to the tank. Now, the other kind of consideration too is what you're putting into the tank. For instance, I know there is like sodium carbonate or sodium bicarbonate, and someone might pick one or the other. But a true buffer should be a blend, right? You're gonna have multiple different kind of alkalinity supplementations or alkalinity buffers mixed together, which is going to give you a more balanced solution overall. Now to mix this, we're going to start with alkalinity. And for this one, I did talk to Jack from Brightwell and did figure out a bit of the math on this one. And what we want to do is 560 grams per gallon of water. Now a gallon is 3,785.41 milliliters. And if we break that down into a liter, that's 147.93 grams per 1,000 mils. So we're going to use that math and we're going to mix up our own. Now for the Calcium-P, this one is 480 grams per gallon or 126.8 grams per liter. So those are the two main numbers we want to look at. Now for actually doing that, I am a big fan of doing all this weighing stuff with a scale. That way you get stuff fairly exact and you're consistent. You could wing it. I know some people just say like a scoop of this or 2 teaspoons, but there's gonna be a bit of variation, which may or may not matter, but I like to keep it fairly consistent. So for this, we are going to use a scale and we're gonna use that to measure our water and our mixture dosing buffers as well. For this one, let's fill it up to the 1600 mil mark. So the cool thing about water with RODI is you can basically go with 1 mil is 1 gram. So if we fill this up to 1600 grams, we know we'll be right on the money. All right, so we got 1600 grams on the money, so that's 1600 mils of water. Next, we're gonna weigh out our alkalinity buffer. So once it's on here, we're just gonna re-zero out the scale with the new measuring container. Now, since we have 1.6 liters or 1600 milliliters, we're gonna take our measurement. So we had 147.93 grams per 1,000 milliliters. Now we're just gonna times that by 1.6, and that gives us 236.68 grams. All right, 236 grams, right on the money. Now, if you don't have a digital scale, I would really suggest picking one up. I kind of consider them an essential reef tool. It just really makes your life easy and makes everything consistent with mixing up solutions. I'm also a big fan of using a magnetic stir for mixing stuff. This really just makes sure everything's 100% dissolved. So now we got our 236 grams of solution. I'm gonna start the magnetic stir, dropped in the pill, and wait till this creates a little bit of a vortex, and then I'm gonna start adding my powder. Now we're gonna let this mix for about 15-20 minutes or so until it is crystal clear. Now it will take a little bit longer because I just use cold RODI water. If I was to use warm water, it'd mix a lot quicker, but that's okay because hey, the mixer's doing all the work for us. Now, if you have an RODI unit already, it is super easy to make your own dosing supplements. kitchen scale, and a beaker, done. Not required, but nice to have a magnetic mixer as well. So if you have a smaller tank and not a lot of coral load, using something like the Reef Code A and B is a great way to go. But if you have a larger tank, lots of coral, you find you're dosing a ton of supplements, then you might want to consider mixing up your own supplements because it's going to save you a lot of money in the long run. Just to kind of recap, the Calcion-P, 480 grams per gallon, and alkalinity.3-p, 560 grams per gallon. Now this is the max saturation point. So this is the most you're going to get to dissolve in water, and it's going to give you very similar dosing to if you were to use the Reef Code A or Reef Code B. So you can kind of use those as a guide for your dosing amounts or dosing calculators. Now you could always mix it at a lower concentration and just dose more of it, right? So you could do a third of that. So if you wanted, say, 50 grams per liter, it just means you'd have to dose 3 times as more, which can be an advantage if you're using like a JAVO or a cheaper dosing pump that's not quite as accurate. All right, guys, if you have a big tank, if you have lots of coral, definitely consider mixing up your own dosing supplements. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. If you did, as always, hit that like button. If you have any questions at all, let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, I'll catch you guys on the next video.